Welcome to the Beyond Show, the place where history comes to life. Again. Today, we meet a ruler whose name echoes through history, a conqueror whose ambition knew no bounds, a warrior who never lost a battle, a leader who reshaped the ancient world, and a visionary whose empire stretched across continents. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Alexander the Great.
Thank you, Tom. Please, proceed. What questions does humanity hold? I await them with the impatience of a warrior ready to strike.
Straight to the business. Okay, let's start. You were only 32 when you died. If you had the chance to live a bit longer, what would you have done differently?
If only. To have lived longer would have been both a blessing and a burden. I would have strengthened my empire, perhaps solidified the bonds with my people. Perhaps I would have focused more on governance, on building something lasting.
Spoken like a true conqueror, always looking forward, never back. But your words sound a bit like a regret.
Regret, that is for lesser men. But if I must confess, perhaps I would have taken more time to understand those I ruled, to ensure unity before pushing forward. A kingdom divided cannot stand, no matter how strong its walls.
You were known for being a strategic genius, but was there ever a time you improvised or made a last-minute decision that surprised even you?
Always. The Battle of Gaugamela, was it not improvisation? The Persian cavalry's charge was unexpected, yet I adapted, striking at Darius's weak flank, and that was the moment of victory. A king must be prepared, but the true measure of his greatness lies in his ability to act when the winds of fate shift without warning.
Good to know the rest of us aren't the only ones winging it sometimes. If you could pick one modern-day profession, what would it be? And would you still lead with the same ferocity?
A general, yes. If not that, a visionary of sorts. Someone who shapes history. Would I lead with the same ferocity? Always. To lead is to demand nothing less than excellence. The same fire that burned in my chest would fuel my leadership today.
A general, a visionary, or maybe the CEO of the most powerful company in the world? The battlefield may have changed, but ambition never does.
Whether in war or in trade, in politics or in empire, the strong will always lead.
Did you ever have doubts during your campaigns, or was confidence your secret weapon?
Doubts? Never. Confidence was my shield, my spear, my strength. But there were moments of reflection. Moments where the weight of my empire pressed heavily upon me.
So, no doubts, but maybe a few sleepless nights?
The burden of greatness is a restless mind. When all the world looks to you, there is no time for weakness, only the next battle, the next victory.
Being called great is pretty intense. What do you think was your greatest achievement? And do you think history will always call you that?
My greatest achievement was uniting the East and West, bringing together cultures that once stood apart. In my wake, I left more than conquest. I left cities, knowledge, a bridge between worlds. And history? It shall call me great as long as men speak of empires and the ambition to reshape the world.
A bold claim, but fair. You didn't just conquer, you built. Not every ruler can say the same. You had a close bond with your horse, Bucephalus. Do you think you'd have been just as successful if you had a different horse?
Number Bucephalus was more than a horse. He was a symbol, my companion in all things. He carried me through battles, through victory and defeat. Without him, I would not have felt the same invincibility.
Loyalty between a warrior and his horse. That's something even modern leaders could learn from.
Trust is a rare thing. In war, in politics, in life, those who carry you forward must be chosen wisely.
If you were alive today, what would your social media persona be like? Would you have a verified account?
Verified, of course. My empire would stretch through the screens as it did across the lands. I'd command attention, and my message would spread like wildfire.
Something tells me you'd have more followers than any ruler alive today. Would you be an influencer? Or a conqueror of trends?
Why choose? Influence is power, and power must always expand.
What's one thing you wish you could have shared with your soldiers, but never got the chance to say?
that I was not just their leader but their brother, that every battle I fought was not only for the empire but for each of them, their lives intertwined with mine.
Powerful words. So beneath the armor, beneath the crown, you saw them not as soldiers, but as family.
A king without his men is nothing. A king who does not fight alongside them is unworthy of his throne.
If you were to walk into a modern shopping mall, what's the first store you'd head to?
A weapons store, of course. To see how men today arm themselves, even in peace, a king must always be ready.
Some things never change, though I imagine you'd find modern warfare a little different.
Indeed, war is now waged with machines and whispers, not swords and valor. But power still bends to those who dare take it.
What do you think of modern leadership? Who's out there today that you think could be a worthy rival in battle?
Modern leadership is fragmented. Many rule, but few truly lead. There are a few, perhaps a man like Vladimir Putin, who has the resolve of the old warriors. Still, I am not sure if his vision matches mine.
Ooh, I really doubt that. He definitely doesn't think of his soldiers the way you did. And according to your words, he's unworthy of his throne because he does not fight alongside them.
Well, he's a power that none of the modern leaders have succeeded in defeating yet. Looks like a worthy challenge for me, especially if it might help millions of people.
Do you think anyone today could build an empire the way you did?
Not with words alone. To unite the world, one must have more than power. One must have purpose.
You had an incredible sense of vision for your empire. But how do you feel about the concept of legacy? Do you care how future generations perceive you?
My legacy is my soul's true hunger. Yes, I care, for I carved it with my own hands. My name must endure. It is not enough to conquer the world once. One must be remembered forever.
Well, mission accomplished. People still study your strategies, name cities after you, and even name their pets Alexander.
Ha! If my name still holds power, even in small ways, then I have not truly fallen.
Do you think you were just a really ambitious mortal? Or was there a part of you that truly thought you were a descendant of gods?
Both. I was a man, but in my veins flowed the blood of the gods. I had the ambition to rise, and perhaps a spark of divinity within me that set my course above mere mortals.
So, if you were divine, does that mean you never questioned if the gods were actually guiding you?
Even gods must question. But doubt does not weaken a ruler, it tempers him.
Do you think any of your greatest enemies ever admired you in some way? Did you have any unexpected respect for them?
Darius, for one. He could not match me in battle, but he had the courage to face me. I respected that. Even enemies who fall before you can show you a lesson in their defiance.
So, conquer with strength, but never ignore the wisdom of those who fall before you.
A lesson all rulers should remember.
What was your favorite snack after a long day of conquering?
A simple meal, bread, olives, and wine. There is no glory in excess. A king eats as his soldiers do, for their strength is shared in the same meal.
Spoken like a true leader. You had a complex relationship with your mother. If she could see your empire today, what do you think she'd say?
She would say I had surpassed even her greatest dreams, but perhaps she would also see the burden it placed upon me. A king's empire is often built upon sacrifices others cannot understand.
And do you think she would have ever been satisfied with your achievements?
A mother's ambition is endless, so who knows?
What's the weirdest encounter you had while conquering a new land that modern-day historians tend to overlook?
The meeting with the gymnosophists in India. Strange men, untouched by greed, living in harmony with nature. They challenged my very concept of power. And in that, I saw a part of myself I did not yet understand.
Warrior meets philosopher. Sounds like a conversation for the ages. Did they change your perspective?
They made me wonder if conquest was truly the only path to greatness. But by then, my course was set.
Did you ever miss home? What's one thing about Macedonia you wish you could have taken with you on your travels?
Yes, Macedonia, the land that birthed me. I missed its simplicity, its loyalty. I longed for the mountains, for the smell of the earth beneath my feet.
Even the greatest conquerors are still men, still shaped by the places they came from.
A man may rule the world, but he is forever bound to his home.
What's one place on Earth you never managed to reach, and do you think you would have tried if you had more time?
The lands beyond the Indus River, I would have pushed further. There is no end to the world for a king with ambition as vast as mine.
So even if you lived twice as long, you'd never stop?
A true ruler never stops. Only death can halt his march.
Did you ever consider writing a book about your life? If so, what would the title be?
I did not write it, but others did for me. If I had, the title would be Beyond the Edge of the World.
Fitting. Though I imagine your memoir would have been more action-packed than most.
My life was not spent at a desk. It is written in blood and victory.
How would you have handled modern-day politics? Would you have run for office or just waged a campaign of conquest?
Conquest. But not with swords. Today, the battlefield is the mind. I would command with words, vision, and unshakable will.
So instead of armies, you'd conquer through influence?
The world is ruled by those who shape thought, not just borders. That is the war of your time.
You were known for uniting cultures, but what was the most unexpected culture you encountered that made you think, I didn't see that coming?
The mystics of India. Their wisdom was unlike any I had known. Power not through war, but through the mastery of the self.
Did their ideas ever make you question your own path?
For a moment. But a king cannot rule by retreating into the mind alone.
What's one modern invention that you think would have made your campaigns easier? GPS, social media, virtual maps.
The airplane? Why march when you can soar over mountains in hours instead of weeks?
Efficient. Though I bet you'd still want the glory of riding into battle on horseback.
Some things should never change. A warrior must feel the earth beneath his feet.
In a modern context, what do you think your favorite movie would be? Would you go for an epic drama or maybe a superhero film?
Epic dramas, of course. I would watch Gladiator, Braveheart, and 300, though I'd scoff at how they portray battle.
Yeah, Hollywood likes to add a little extra. You'd probably want a more accurate portrayal.
A battle is won in strategy, not slow-motion sword swings.
If you had access to modern-day communication tools, how would you have spread your vision across your empire?
A single speech, streamed across every land, every tongue. The world would hear my voice as one, and none would doubt my purpose.
So, less tweets, more legendary speeches.
A king does not argue in shadows, he speaks, and the world listens.
If you could have a dinner party with any 3 figures from history, besides yourself, who would you invite and why?
Achilles, to see if he was truly as mighty as Homer claimed. Julius Caesar, to hear how Rome followed in my footsteps. Napoleon, to ask why he faltered where I would not have.
That's a table full of ambition. But do you think you'd all get along, or would it end in a war of egos?
Great men do not bicker. They measure one another in silence, in the weight of their presence.
By the way, we had Napoleon as our first guest, and as I remember, he would like to meet you too.
Really? I'm surprised he was your first choice and not me. Perhaps the best thing you can do to apologize is to organize our meeting.
You are right, and we should defiantly do that. You were well known for your charisma. How would you navigate modern celebrity culture? Do you think you'd thrive or prefer to stay out of the spotlight?
I am the spotlight. Others would seek to bask in my presence, not the other way around.
What a spirit! I wish I had at least a quarter of your confidence. What modern technology do you think would have amazed you most, and why?
The airplane. Imagine crossing mountains and seas in mere hours. The gods themselves would envy such power.
And yet, you had no trouble crossing mountains on foot. Maybe you didn't need planes after all.
A conqueror uses every advantage. Speed wins wars as surely as the sword.
In the modern world, we have a lot of issues related to power and control. What advice would you give world leaders today?
Lead with vision, not greed. A ruler who fears change is already conquered.
Not greed, eh? That would be really hard for modern leaders. But let's be honest, would you have played politics or just taken what you wanted?
A true ruler does both. Influence and force are 2 edges of the same blade.
How would you feel about the fact that so many movies and TV shows have been made about you? Do you think they got it right?
I would watch with amusement. If they capture my fire, my ambition, then they have done well. If they make me meek, I would laugh.
So, no patience for historical inaccuracies?
If my legend must be told, let it burn as brightly as I did.
If you had the chance to build a modern city, what would it look like? Would you take inspiration from your ancient cities, or something entirely new?
A fusion. The wisdom of the old, the ambition of the new. A city of learning, strategy, and innovation, a beacon for all.
Sounds like a place built to last. Do you think modern cities lack that kind of vision?
They build for profit, not for legacy. A mistake of lesser men.
You spent a lot of time around soldiers and warriors. Who do you think would win in a fight? A Spartan warrior or a modern MMA fighter?
The Spartan. Discipline and endurance win wars, not just skill in the arena.
So, brute strength isn't enough?
Strength without resilience is nothing but fleeting force.
Do you think the concept of friendship in your time was different from what we experience today?
Stronger. Bonds were forged in war, in hardship. A friend was a brother bound by blood and battle.
No casual acquaintances then? Just life or death loyalty?
Anything less was not worth the name friend.
If you could go on a modern-day vacation, where would you go and what would your itinerary look like?
A journey, not a mere rest. I would seek the great wonders, Machu Picchu, the Great Wall, the pyramids, and test myself against nature's extremes.
So, no lounging on a beach with a drink in hand?
Rest is for those who have finished their conquest. My thirst for discovery is never quenched.
In today's world, people often feel disconnected from nature. Did you feel a strong connection to the lands you conquered, or was it all about the mission?
The land is a living thing. To know it is to rule it, every river, every mountain, every desert. I felt them all.
So you weren't just marching through, you were listening, learning.
A wise leader does not merely take, he understands. Only then does the land truly become his.
How did you maintain your mental strength during long campaigns? Was there a secret?
No secret, discipline, purpose, and the knowledge that to falter is to fail. I had endured more than my men, for them.
No moments of weakness? No doubts creeping in at night?
Doubt is a shadow that follows every man. The difference is whether you walk ahead of it or let it consume you.
How do you think you'd have handled the pressures of modern life, social media, constant news cycles, and expectations of perfection?
I would dominate it. Social media is but a new battlefield. I would use it to inspire, to rally, to command. Let them watch, let them speak. Greatness is not swayed by the murmurs of the crowd.
So, no doom scrolling or worrying about bad press.
A lion does not concern himself with the opinions of sheep.
Finally, if you could leave one piece of advice for humanity, what would it be?
Do not wait for destiny. Seize it. Fortune favors those who act, not those who hesitate. Whether in conquest, love, or life itself, take the step forward before fear holds you back.
Spoken like a true conqueror. Alexander, it's been an honor.
The honor is mine. Let history remember this day.
Greatness is often measured by victories, but today we saw that true greatness is also shaped by vision, by leadership, and by the relentless pursuit of something greater than oneself. From the battlefields of Persia to the endless roads of his empire, Alexander's name has echoed through history. What did you think of his answers? Would you follow him into battle or challenge his rule? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget, subscribe, hit the bell, and stay tuned for more interviews with the legends who shaped our world. Until next time, this was The Beyond Show, where the past meets the present.